Yo guys, what's up? Shy Guy Reviews back at it again. Today we're going to be taking a look at My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 99. I believe it's Episode 11 of Season 5, though. So, here's the thing. This episode wasn't bad, but it definitely did not feel like a very big episode in a lot of ways. I'm going to elaborate a little bit really quickly. I'm just going to really quickly go over what actually had happened. Pretty much we had a long recap without the whole Deku scene in his head. And, it was nice to see. I mean, I like what they did. It's nice to see what everybody else saw. Nobody else saw what happened in Deku's head when he talked to that guy. We had lots of flashbacks to it. But, cue that. We went into the intro. Aizawa decided not to stop the fight. Everybody keeps fighting. Funny enough, Mina is getting attacked. And, Grape Juice has to come to the rescue for his own benefit. He's pulling off some crazy moves where he just throws balls everywhere, and for everybody else, it's pretty much like a minefield. For him, it's great because he just bounces off it and he uses it to get around. He traps the enemy team for the most part, and Monoma upstages Deku. I think that's what he wanted to do. It felt like he planned it out a lot. So pretty much, he goes swiping for Deku the second that Deku regains consciousness. The second that he has his chance, he takes it. And he's sitting there and he's actually monologuing in his head. And he's like, you know what? He doesn't have the abilities to push forward like they do. He has to do it differently. He has to copy other people's abilities. But the nice thing about Monoma is instead of like, let's say Todoroki, who's like so thing about his own fire abilities, or even what's his name in this episode? Shinso, who is so thing about his abilities and how villain-like it might have been. For him, he leans into it and he says, "No, I'm okay. I'm just gonna upstage you. I'm gonna. I don't want to be the main character. I don't have the power to do that. But I'm gonna shine as bright as I can." And in all honesty, I think Monoma is probably one of my favorite characters right now. He really is. It was just really nice to see a character that doesn't fall back on themselves because of their quirk or turn to like the dark side or make all sorts of edgy decisions just because of that. He might be a bit crazy, but in all regards, he's actually pretty good when you compare him to the rest of the cast and what he's working with here. Um, so he goes on the attack. Deku dodges it. He actually copies Deku's quirk, and he says, "Oh shoot, it was a blank," as Ochako pretty much martial arts him to the floor with the gunhead martial arts she learned. And Ochako actually takes down like I think like 3 or 4 of the enemy team this episode, which is really interesting. And she also makes Deku weightless almost, so he can go up and attack Shinso. He fights Shinso. We have a little bit of a flashback to Shinso learning how to use the scarf or the wrap, and him and Aizawa are really just bonding. And let me just say, Aizawa without the whole wraparound is amazing. I kind of prefer him like this, but you know what? It's okay. We only need to see it when it's time. Uh, so that's cool. He then uses the wraps and he pulls down all the wraps around Deku or the pipes around Deku, and Deku stops it with his new quirk. And everybody's like, "Whoa, new quirk!" And then Deku just you know, it's too strong. He can't handle it, and he just he's 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 writhing in a little bit of pain. Uh, you know, so Monoma got taken down. The crazy thing about that is I'm actually not sure if it was a blank or if you just can't copy it, or for all we know, he did copy it. He just doesn't know how to use it, or I don't really know. But again, props to Monoma. He's been using all of these quirks that all of these people have taken long to master. I mean, the fact that he's able to use them in this degree is also amazing, right? Quirks that people have, I mean, it's just amazing to watch. And as he's being pulled around by Ochako, she's just like leading him like a dog on a chain. He's floating in the air. He's like, do you really think I can only do 3 abilities at the same time? And he's talking to her and he's talking to her and he's activating his master plan. And you know what? She puts him in the cage, and he smiles as Deku is chasing the hell out of Shinso, who can't do anything but run at this point since Deku just stopped his one thing. Deku also can't use his full power to get to him, so he's like, using a little bit, but he's also lighter weight because of Ochako, so he's chasing him. And yeah, Monoma uses second impact, and a little swipe on Deku becomes a punch to the face, and he's like, well, there it is. Fun fact, Great Man gets punched in the gut. Cool. Um, Mina also starts getting beaten up by the Kinetic Girl. And Deku just continues fighting. All of a sudden, check this out. Ochako just takes out the ghost girl looking and the girl in the red. I forget what their names are. Rule and Emily. She just straight up just takes them out and they're out. Mina actually saves Grape Juice and that's it. She uppercuts him. Cool. And Deku gets Shinso. That's about it. That's really all that happened in this episode. But I think really the fight wasn't the main portion of this episode. The main portion of this episode was just seeing how everybody had grown, especially Ochako, and watching Aizawa actually teach his student, who is now Shinso. I have full confidence that like Shinso is to Aizawa what Sasuke was to Kakashi, pretty much. And in all honesty, Shinso starts monologuing. He goes deep and dark, and he's like, "Oh, I messed up, blah blah blah, and I have so much to learn." I was always just like, "Shut up, man, get better, cool." I appreciate that. I appreciate that they didn't lean into it, smiling like, "Yeah, yeah, man, you're great. Don't worry about it." Mina also, you know, just pokes a little fun at Ochako for grabbing onto Deku super tightly, out of nowhere, embarrassing her. And yeah, Shinso is actually, I mean, I don't think too many people are going to be surprised if Shinso gets into Hero Course in 1A. Especially since he already had known this was his test since he said it only makes sense. And, that's about the entire episode. So, like I said before, standouts in this entire episode was pretty much just watching Monoma, his whole thing come together. His whole character is all together now, and it's amazing. He's a supporting character who understands he's a supporting character. He's not a rival. He's not one of the main characters. He's a supporting character, right? He knows this. He's not trying to fight it, but instead he still thinks it's okay to outshine everybody else. And you know what? He's right. Like I said before, it's just nice to see a character that doesn't flip and all of a sudden start doing things that they're going to regret later. Monoma might be a bit eccentric, especially when it comes to 1A and putting them down, but we've seen that he thinks he's very intelligent. He does not do things rashly, and at the same time, he's encouraging to his team, and even, at some points he acknowledges everybody's growth, and he's a really good character to have. Monoma might not be the main character of this series, but he's definitely the character you would want on your team. You know, I mean, he has his faults like everyone else, but so far they're very minimal. I mean, what's a little bit of a personality defect? We've seen twice before. All right, though, guys. So that's about all it was for this episode. Like I said, it was a pretty much just a recap episode plus a little bit of extra. And these two characters, mostly Shinso and Monoma, are very similar in the fact that their quirks are not, we'll say, hero material. And we pretty much get to see them develop more than Deku, which I appreciate a lot. So, you know what, guys? Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. I know this review is a bit late, but I hope you guys have a great day. And remember, dying is bad for your health. I'll see you guys next time.